Welcome to the brand new world of 0.9.0. This release is mainly for the macro developers out there because it's basically all under the covers stuff. I rewrote the Modifier Bucket communication system and all of the chat parsing so that it's now all synchronous. All of our commands are guaranteed to be sequential. You're like, okay, great, big deal. But if you look at this macro here, total darkness, this used to not work. This sets everybody's modifier bucket to a -10, except for Chris's, which is going to be at a -7. And this didn't work before. It would execute out of order. But as you can see now, Chris gets the -7, everybody else gets the -10. Or this skewer macro. Attack at the vitals at a -3 and then do a +2 strong attack. It used to not work. And funny thing, when things execute in order, you can do stuff like if and then and else, which we couldn't do before. So that's what we've done. We've implemented the /if chat command, and it will execute any on-the-fly formula that is a check of some type, an attribute or a skill or a self-control role. And if it's successful, it will execute the next on-the-fly formula or chat command, whichever. And if it's not successful, it'll execute whatever's after the /else. So the formula on the screen implements an acrobatic dodge. It checks the acrobatics, and if so, then it dodges at a +2 or a -2. So we'll execute this for Alejandro. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? Well, it looks ugly, so let's fix that. Using a feature developed last release, we can label this button Acrobatic Dodge, and now it looks like this. Of course, it executes the same way. And we included a little bug fix. If you send this to everyone, it now sends with the label, so the label appears in the chat log and not the whole formula. We've added a new on-the-fly formula, D for damage. So combining everything together, this gives us a quick macro to roll the rapier attack, and if successful, roll the rapier damage. And it looks like this. So these macros might be something useful to put in, say, the quick notes section. We've got a few more minor features. If you have a resource tracker that is a damage tracker, meaning that it keeps track of damage points and resets back to 0, when you use the tracker command to reset it, it doesn't go to max, it goes to 0 like it should. And if your characters use flight, we've implemented a very rudimentary flight move system. All right, well, what I'm trying to say is you can see the flight move if you go to the character, bring up the editor, and now check this box, show move flight. Then go back to the full move. So now move is ground move / the fly move. And we're just using the basic speed times 2. And then the regular encumbrance calculation. We don't do any other character logic, so if you have enhanced move air, we don't factor that in. Like I said, this is just basic support. Oh, and a feature you may not know about, if you hold down the Shift key, you can make any role private. This also now works for all on-the-fly formulas. And another useful but not very flashy fix is we now propagate any combat initiative formula change immediately, all possible because of the rework of the communications framework. So if the GM changes this formula, it will instantly go to all connected clients. And we added a little enhancement. If you put a colon at the end and a number, that's how many decimal places the formula will calculate and display to. Be careful, however, if you need to calculate out to the 10,000th digit, but only want to display out to the tens digit, you can't do it. And the last two features are for the really geeky. On the right is a player character, Chris. And if they execute select at self, what it's going to do is look through all of the player character actors to find out which one Chris owns and select it. Okay, seems kind of redundant, right? Well, I built that because of this last feature. Because of the new communications framework, GMs can actually send remote commands to the clients. So I can get all the clients that are connected to execute the perception role. Of course, this wouldn't have worked if Bog wasn't selected. And that's a little different than the everyone command. The everyone command just rolls the dice in the GM's machine. The remote command literally causes any connected non-GM client to execute that command. So let's say you had a macro like this that sets everybody's bonus to +10 except Chris, which only gets a +6, and Harry, which only gets a +9. Then we'll tell everybody to make certain their character is selected and execute a perception roll. And there you go. Bog rolls at a +6. You can tell only certain users to execute the remote command by just putting in the player names prior to the on-the-fly command. If the player name has a space in it, you have to put it in quotes. This will tell Harry, player 5, and Chris to execute the perception roll. Of course, only Chris is connected, so Bog rolled perception. If you've never used chat commands before, I highly recommend giving them a look. Type /help in the chat and it'll print this list out. Check in the user's guide for all of the options. I honestly don't know how useful the remote command will be, but I could do it, so I did. If you come up with something cool, please let us know. I'm sorry we didn't have a lot of cool visual enhancements for this release. I really wanted to get this out there because of the new underlying communications framework. It makes a lot of things possible now. And as always, thank you for watching.